I wish you guys could have seen Chris Carson just run right there. He's right out in front of me right here. He's killing it. Okay, what do you got?
Jackie?
Hey, Coach, with how the team played on all phases of the game, would you say this is the most complete performance that you've seen from the team this year?
Yeah, it really was. It was just what we needed, and not a moment too soon. I wish you could see Chris right now. Unbelievable. Holy, he's running right in front of me. Jeez. I'm gonna give a little play-by-play here if you keep this up. Jeez. Um, yeah, it was, and we took a big step forward here in the last 2 weeks on defense. I know it might not look like it last week, but and take it all the way back to the 49er game too. This game right now put us in a position where we can really move forward defensively, and the guys. We can keep the guys in the same positions and keep getting a little healthier. Um, this is a chance for us to really keep rolling.
Corbin?
AP, you've been talking about Trey Flowers the last couple of weeks, the progress that he's made. To go out there, him and DJ Reed, to hold DeAndre Hopkins to 51 yards on 5 receptions and really limit that passing game. What does that say about the secondary stepping up with all the injuries they've had?
Yeah, we didn't make any of with one exception, they checked down the ball, made a 20-yard play, should have been nothing. There weren't any plays out there. The guys did great. They were very consistent. They did stuff right the whole night and played aggressive football for us and fit together with what we were doing up front. So everybody knows what we need to do, and you can see Trey really embracing it. Yeah, that was a really nice game for him.
You also have to be encouraged by the fact that all 3 of your sacks came on 3 and 4-man rushes. That has to be a big deal moving forward too, right?
Yeah, we didn't make the plays with the pressures like last night like we had hoped to, but more than anything, that's what we need to see. Because so many snaps in the game, what's 70% of the game or 65% of the game is 4-man pressure. You really need to get some activity, and this was our best rush night that we've had.
Greg?
Can you detail more about the accountability meeting for the defense? Did each player say, okay, on this particular scheme, and you went through all the schemes, or how far did you go?
Yeah. Basically, Kenny organized it so that the guys had a chance to speak up and show what they knew about playing their spot in responsibility-wise in the base calls that we had, and it was just a remarkable meeting of accountability. The guys were great, and that means that they've learned really well. Instead of having the coaches say it, the players, were saying the stuff and talking about assignments and all, and it just was a real nice step forward. But it was powerful, and I thought, we tried to build on that, and the guys played like it. So what it means is that the guys have arrived. I can't keep telling you, okay, soon we're going to be feeling like we played together. We need some more time. I can't say that anymore. We've made it to that point, and now we really need to play good football, and there's no reason why we shouldn't.
Was this since the Rams game?
Yeah, I think it came out of the second half of the Rams game. That we saw something there, and it was just building on it. I mean, only a couple of days of this week, but it's just we just took a step forward. I know Carlos is situated now. We're going to see Jamal. Jamal's playing with one arm, and he played next week when he comes back in this next game. He's going to be a lot healthier. He's going to be much better than he's been, and he too is gaining really command of what he's supposed to do. He's got a lot of stuff he does in our defense, a lot of critical stuff, and he just played. He's played much smarter football, much more consistent. He's going to be terrific here as we go down the next couple games.
Sorry, one more to get in the weeds on this accountability meeting. Why was it now versus, say, September, or what precipitated it now?
Well, we weren't ready. Hadn't done enough. We hadn't been together enough. We hadn't had enough interaction to get there, and I can't tell you why it took this long, necessarily, other than the lack of, continuity, and guys being out there. But we have taken a step, and I think Kenny had a great thought to pull these guys together and really have them speak out. And there's a lot of interaction in our meetings. This ain't the first time the guys talk or nothing, but this just was the best I've ever seen. I've never seen a better meeting for guys holding themselves accountable and really illustrating how well the command they had of what we're doing.
Michael Sean?
Hey, Pete, how much of that meeting do you think tied to how disciplined guys were on defense yesterday?
I think like I said, they've taken that next step, and hopefully, I mean, it doesn't mean anything until we come back out and play again, but hopefully it was just clear, and I was glad that I was there to hear it, to capture it, to make sure that they realized what had just happened, because it was a big statement about everybody knows exactly what they need to do, and also that they're willing to go do it, and how they're going to do it, and all of that's such important stuff. So,
did any one player stand out to you at that time?
There was like 30 guys. A lot of guys. Guys that back up and play alternate positions and stuff like that. They talked about all that stuff, and so everybody was in it.
I'm sorry, Michael Sean. Are you laying down on the couch?
Next question. Who's next in the queue?
Joe Fan.
Hey, excuse me for a second.
He walked off to talk to Chris Carson. This is a little bit about what I deal with on a daily basis, just so you guys know.
Sorry, that was too important. Sorry. Go.
I guess on that note, just real quick, do you expect Chris, Shaquille, and Ethan back against the Eagles?
Yes.
And then in regards to Damian Lewis, I don't want to be too hyperbolic, but I would imagine that's one of the more challenging transitions you can make outside of picking up, quarterback on a whim. Have you ever seen anything like that before, or had to deal with anything like that as a coach?
No, it hit me, I don't know what day, Tuesday, I guess it was, watching him, that he was so comfortable with it on the practice field, breaking the huddle and making the calls. I couldn't believe that he could do that in one day's time, really. I mean, he'd been snapping the football all year. Last week was his first really go-around at it because of the necessity when we were banged up. And then this week he has to start. Of course he's going to make some mistakes, and right off the bat, he gets sacked. We snapped the ball late a couple times. There was a number of things, but all in all, he played a great football game under those circumstances, and it shows the versatility that he has, and the great mind he has as a ball player. He handled it. It was really a great illustration. Hopefully we go back and he goes back to guard and all that, but it does give us the flexibility going down the road, knowing that we got a first-class guy to put in the spot, because he's physically capable of playing center now. It's a good spot for him there as well.
You initially told us that JaMarco would be the number 3 guy there. So, what did you see from Damian to where you say, you know what, I think this is our better option for us?
The way he handled it, and we had to kind of make a quick call on it. And Mike Solari and Brennan, they just thought that he would be able to handle it, and he exceeded our expectations.
Masvita.
Hey, Pete, 2 questions. Just what you saw out of Tyler Lockett, because I believe you said that he only got a few reps during practice. And then the obvious, what does Chris Carson bring in terms of his presence?
Yeah, first off on Tyler, it was a remarkable return, and the cool thing was about his attitude. He never doubted he was going to miss anything. I mean, his knee was really blown up coming out of the game, and they had to do some stuff to get the swelling out and all of that, but he never wavered and played a great football game for us. As far as Chris, I think the most obvious illustration of is look what we look like with Carlos, and look at him running and attacking the line of scrimmage and hunting guys on the sidelines and catches a check down is going to knock somebody out. He chases a guy out of bounds to hit, to try to run over somebody. That toughness that shows and that impact is what Chris brings. I mean, Chris is that. And during the night, I was imagining if we had Carlos and Chris running, what that would be like in terms of the style of play. And really early on when we didn't have to run the ball much because we were throwing the football, those guys were out there, and we almost took it for granted, that And I'm disappointed about that because that's the element of our football that makes us the style team that we are. And it makes Russ's job different than it is when he has to throw the ball 40 times or 50 times. He certainly can do it and loves doing it, and we don't mind doing it. But our football is better shaped when we're balanced and we're attacking you, and we can play off of that. It fits the defense, it fits special teams. It's the statement of our the way we play. So I'll keep going here. Early on, when you guys would say, hey, the style is different or whatever, you don't. This isn't the formula they used to use. I wasn't worried about that because I knew we could run the football. We just didn't have to, kind of in early on. But now we do, and you can see it as the defenses are catching up and they're slowing things down. Not as many points being scored. You got to balance out and have everything available. So that's really that's what Chris brings us. That's the answer to that question in long shape form.
Tim?
Pete, now that you've had him for a few weeks now, what stands out to you about Carlos Dunlap? And
he's a really good ball player. He's really, really strong. He's very consistent, got a great attitude, great energy about him. The smarts shows up, just the fact that he played so much in the first week. But now he's very comfortable with what we're doing. He's sitting in a great spot. He's going to the wide side of the field and bringing it off the edge, which is a great position for him to play. With all that length and stature that he has, he causes problems. And he's got a couple rushes in him a game. That's why he's got 80-something sacks in his career. The good rushers don't get sacks every play. They just get sacks every game. And that's kind of what he's shown he's doing. So, my favorite play was the quick screen we threw away from him last night, and he went flying across the field and makes a play at the line of scrimmage. That was my favorite play by far that he had, other than winning the football game with a sack, I guess.
And then you mentioned on the radio about Greg's injury being pretty significant. Do you have any sense 12 hours later how long that of a recovery?
What I've heard, it's a 4 to 6 week deal. I don't know that, but that's this case. But that's what they threw around last night. That if he does have a ruptured, thing in his foot, then it's a 4 to 6 week recovery. So we'll see what that means.
Thanks.
Curtis?
Yeah, Pete, real quick on Tyler. He had the tackle on the sidelines that was a little awkward too, in addition to the knees. He doing all right coming out of the game?
I haven't heard any. There's no updates on his injury status at all, so I think he's fine. That happened right in front of me. I thought he was really in trouble there. I thought that was such an awkward position that he got in, and his flexibility and athleticism to escape that's remarkable because it was a dangerous position.
And then when you talk about defense last night, when you see the way that they handled Kyler in the run game, particularly on the edges on some of those plays, KJ in the backfield, Jamal and DJ down near the goal line. When you see everything kind of come together in that circumstance and have all those assignments work together, is that kind of as good an illustration as any as what last week kind of did to propel you guys forward?
Yeah, the scheme worked out great, and the coaches did a really good job of making the players, understand if they held the edges like they did and were really disciplined about it, that we could control them to some extent. You could see there was times we had him. Jamal came on a blitz and was basically free off the edge. And he still got outside of Jamal. Man, that's an incredible play, and he's going to get out sometimes. But we corralled him for the most part and really kept his impact down. I guess he was banged up too. I don't know what factor that played, but our guys certainly did their jobs really well and consistently.
Jen?
Given the success that DJ Reed has had in the return game, do you anticipate keeping him there?
Yeah, I love him back there. It's his suddenness and mentality about it is what you're looking for, and so he's going to be a big part of the returns.
Bob?
Yeah, Pete, you mentioned on the radio Bobby and KJ's role, and you felt it was one of their best games ever, and sort of just keeping everybody together, I guess, communicating and things like that. Could you just expand on that, I guess, kind of what that means from a layman's perspective?
Yeah, what I felt last night was their poise and communication to other guys. It helped everybody, and we were adjusting during the night. We didn't do a lot of different things as the game went on. We just adjusted within our base stuff, and to get that done, they have to convey that to the guys around them, and they have to see the see what's happening and call for the adjustments, communicate. I just felt like that was the best we've been all season and as good as I can remember us being. And those two guys were in the middle of all that. Of course, it has a lot to do with Jamal and Diggsy on the back end, but I just felt like those two guys really kind of took the game over in a sense and kept us all really intact.
And Dunbar, you put him on IR yesterday. What's his sort of, I guess, long-term status? You hope he gets back this year? Or?
Yeah, we hope another week is going to be, enough to get him back. He'll be week to week. He has to sit out this week coming up, and then he could be one of the guys to come back, off the 3-week IR whenever he's ready. It works out really well for him because it forces us to leave him another week to recover, and him too. He wants to play so bad he would fight his way back out. But it'll get him one more week, the Philly week, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Art?
Back to Damian, Pete. Which of the coaches came up with the idea to move him to center, and what did you tell him or ask him? And then what did he say?
Well, I had the foresight to bring that one up. I thought it would, might help the boys out. I don't know. It was just part of the conversation, Art. I don't know exactly anybody's responsible for it other than Mike Solari and Brennan and Chief, those guys working with the O-line. But they felt like that would be it would be the best position. Physically he could do it. There's no doubt about that. It was just how would he handle it, because somebody was going to have to be burdened by it. He just handled it the best, and so give it to all the offensive line coaches.
Brady?
Hey Pete, how do you feel like your four-man rush or your pass rush is coming along on when you don't blitz? Whether it's, I don't have had the sack. I think you guys were just rushing 3, but just at times when you don't blitz.
Well, I think they're just working really hard at it. Carlos is a factor. Somebody has to factor in to be the problem, to kind of move the quarterback, to show the consistency that lets other guys rush well. So often it's not just the guy that's making the play; it's the guys around him that help, present the opportunity. And Carlos is doing that for us. So that's a big step forward that we didn't have in the first 6 games, whatever it was. So. But everybody's working hard at it, and the coverage is better. And as the coverage improves, Carlos had his first sack in the situation where he was in the big loop in the pass rush, and it took a while for that to happen, and we had to cover him down to get that done. And the quarterback's holding the football, and bang, you get a great sack right there. So it all works together. But you do need that guy that's kind of the impact guy, and I think Carlos is giving us that.
Ben?
Hey, Pete, could you clarify the return timeline for Rashad and Darryl? I think on the radio you were saying you're hopeful that both practice next week, but I think you said Darryl has a better chance.
I think Darryl's a little bit far. We're from the information I'm getting, we're pretty sure Darryl's coming back. I'm not sure if Rashad's going to get back this week coming up or the next week, but they're really close, and that's providing that everything works out like it's supposed to, But I'm very hopeful for that.
Thanks.
Last question, Joe.
Darryl is a go this week, you said?
He's going to practice this week.
Yes.
That's what. Okay. That's from what I've heard last week. That's what I'm counting on. That when we go, we'll come back Monday. Tuesday is the first day that we'll practice. That may be his first day out. We'll shoot for that.
And then
keep you posted.
With DJ, how much of a semi-season saving acquisition is that when you get that kind of play and versatility and special teams impact from a waiver claim before the season as your fourth corner now?
How did you start that question off? What was the very first thing you said?
How clutch of a pickup is that? When you go through the injury you have to get what you've gotten out of him as your fourth corner.
Yeah, I said this earlier on. I thought John showed great foresight and vision and all to make that move. It was kind of a move that generally gets kind of just kind of washed by. When a guy's got IR or something and or the injury issue that he had. And John said, "Hey, by mid-year, this guy will be there, and if we need him, he's a really good ball player and all that." So I give John and his guys a lot of credit for ideaing that one, and then pulling it off and getting it done, and it worked exactly like they had hoped. So that's pretty good personnel work there. So it's a good deal to get that done. Yeah, it's awesome for that to happen. We're very fortunate.
Sorry, real quick, Pete. What's the message this weekend and Thanksgiving week to the players with everything that's got to happen?
Yeah, we already started that conversation, a couple days back. That this is a crucial time. We're going to have crucial, days off. And guys will be out of the building some, and it's going to call for us to be as disciplined as we've ever been. Just to make sure that we make the right decisions and the right choices. Really, pretty much discouraged, guys from, having anybody come in if they don't, unless it just has to happen. If it's happening, then we won't want to help them. We have a whole regimen that we help visitors coming in to get them cleared and all of that, and we want to make sure that they utilize what we have available, and then we just have to stay with it. This is let me say even more than that. We're in a position where we are successful at what we're doing with this thing, and it's an everyday challenge. It's a moment to moment, interaction to interaction challenge of maintaining the mentality that you can't interact too much with the people around you without making yourself vulnerable or making the other people vulnerable. Part of that is thinking that you're carrying the virus, and so that you don't make yourself put yourself in the position where you can make somebody else get infected. And it's that strict of a mentality, and we're doing it, and I'm really thrilled about it. But also, everybody else has to do it too. I mean, if you want to get it done and you want to keep your family safe, you have to be very strict and very disciplined, and you have to forego the natural things that you normally do, and you have to live with this until we fix it. And we're on the road to fixing it. It's going to take a while, and we have to continue to be really tough about it. And I'm hoping that we can continue to be an illustration of what that it's all about. I'm thrilled where we are and how we've gotten here, and the cooperation and the discipline that we've seen from everybody that it takes. I mean, it takes everybody, and the messaging is that we really have to be strict right now. We got to see if we can carry through these 3 days when we're off and get back to our normal routine, and everybody's in good shape and we're okay.
If you don't win another game this year, Pete, is this the most difficult and maybe best coaching job you've ever done in your life with all that's going on?
I don't know that it's the most coaching I've ever had to do. I'm coaching everything. We've been coaching since February, and it really feels like that. We've been in the coaching mode, helping people, be aware and develop their talents and their skills and their mentality and the discipline and all the things that it takes. And that has nothing to do with football, and so I don't know that it's the best. It's just we've never been here before, so it has been the most thorough and the most wide sweeping, coaching challenge that I've ever been around. There'll never be anything like this again.
Thank you, everyone.
See ya.